Hello everybody. This concepts episode is about avoiding, that's the point of the very famous quote that I opened the episode with by Sun Tzu. And the key principle in achieving strategic victory before the battle has been joined is to make sure every resource you invest, and that includes time, is tightly focused on maximizing your power for at least one and preferably both of the key junctures in the game. The early game ramp up to achieve equilibrium, and the end game, typically a homeworld assault. By way of demonstration, let's take a look at a case study here. This is the Attack of the Zombies run, difficulty 9 Special Forces Master. The game which is by far my worst defeat that I've suffered in AI War 2. And there are a number of reasons why, but let's take a look at a couple here by way of illustration. So I was going into Hedgehog here to grab a frigate IGC. That was a big problem because it cut me off from my homeworld. Special Forces filled in there. It also was a waste of hacking this early in the game to spend 60 on that instead of grabbing a few ARSs instead. The other thing I did is I have just recently in this game spent 7,500. It's not that expensive anymore, but that's what it was at the time, upgrading my turret hulls. Because of taking this system, I've moved up a mark level, which also makes it a questionable acquisition given the other characteristics of the move. And I needed to bump up those turrets to up my defenses, but one thing I didn't even consider is buffing my battle station instead. If we take a look at that, let's say we spent a fraction of that amount. So right now we're at, Mark 1, and not that much if you add all these up together. But let's say that we, 250, do it a second time, that's a little over 1,000. Let's say we hit it again and almost 3,000. We spent less than half what I did on turret hulls. And now we've got all of this. This is much more useful as a decoy now with total strength of almost exactly 2 million, actually survivability. 49k DPS is not nothing. And then probably about 100 strength this could put into a system. Now, of course, it's not mobile like the fleets are. But I normally don't even consider that in my general process at the beginning because I'd rather invest in turrets that are going to be used in many systems over the course of the game than battle station ones which are just in one place and you've got to move them around. So this is a more of a short-term versus a long-term thing. It's actually the opposite of the kind of mistake that I see most players making and asking about. But the point is that I was focused on the wrong thing. I was thinking long-term when I wasn't ready for the short-term spike. And I don't know if it would have worked, but if I had kept out of Hedgehog, if I had made this investment instead of the hull turrets, if I had done a couple of the things differently, I definitely would have had a better chance. That first CPA would have been smaller because I wouldn't have expanded as much, and I would have had much more defensive capability with a battle station. Now, might I have been crushed eventually anyway? Perhaps. But more of a fighting chance. More commonly, though, questions come from a different angle. In this Royal Inspiration game, the current one that's ongoing, the issue was raised, why not upgrade your flagships for easier deep striking? Why not get the Fallen Spire campaign going sooner rather than later? On the Discord, it's often suggested to upgrade your home command station for better defenses, metal, and energy, and that can sometimes be a good idea. But my answer to all of these is pretty much along the same vein. If I don't need to upgrade my flagships, then that's science I'm spending that doesn't help me. Tougher flagships isn't going to help me fight off those early CPAs, and it's not going to help me take out the enemy homeworld. Building my Spire cities earlier just means that my exterior choke points are going to be weaker than they would otherwise be, because the first cities are the strongest. With upgrading the home command station, if I'm not going to need that metal and energy early in the game, and it's not going to come under attack, as I've conquered these systems next to it, then I'm better off being patient, getting my metal and energy later, as territory expands, and investing that science somewhere else. And often the argument is made, well, it's cheap. It doesn't cost that much. And that's a true statement. Like, this would only cost 500 for the first level. And if I did that, second level's 1,500, and you can see all of your stuff upgrading. It's a nice feeling. But to me, that's like, say you had a stack of $101 bills on your desk, and somebody comes by and lights it on fire. Well, you're ticked off. They burn up $100. Now let's say somebody just takes 5 of those off the top and lights those on fire, leaves the other 95 alone. Did they do you a favor? Not from the way I see it. I mean, if you spend a small amount on something that doesn't help you, you've just wasted less, but you've still wasted something. Partly due to the wide variety of faction and galaxy setups that you can have, and partly due to varying skills, tactically, how you use your ships. I can't get too specific on do this and then this and then this, but the main idea is the thought process. Everything you spend your research on, everything you spend your hacking on, everything you have your fleets and turrets doing, the metal to build things in various places, it all should be aimed towards either helping you get to that equilibrium point where you can expand consistently, not necessarily easily, but where you can expand and you can hold off the AI tax, or towards helping your end game. Because if you're doing something that isn't aimed at either one of those two goals, you're making your game weaker. And if you're playing a difficulty level that's appropriate to your skills, you're going to pay a price for that. And this isn't to say that some of these ideas don't make the game easier. They do. I mean, if I did upgrade a flagship or two, it would definitely be easier to get to this instigator over here. But in the long run, it's just not worth the price. And this applies to all kinds of situations. You run into an alarm post or a raid engine. Do you hack it? Do you destroy it and take the AI progress cost? Do you circumvent that system completely? Do you take a system with a capturable that's hard to defend? Do you take that super weapon, golem or arc or whatever, that's going to boost your AI progress to the next level? Is its firepower going to counteract that? It's important to not make those choices based on what's immediately right in front of you, but more, how are they going to help you get over those key obstacles? Things like, in general, engineering tech, weapons tech in a field that you've got both turrets and ships in, hacking an ARS for ships that fit in with the ones you already have. Those types of things are going to help you now and later. And the more of that synergy you can find between all of those small investments you make throughout the course of a game, the more often you'll find yourself the victorious strategist. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this has been useful. Any questions? Be happy to answer any detailed, what about this situation types of issues that you may have in mind. Any ideas about future concepts videos, I'll be happy to keep in mind. Thanks for taking the time.